Face the American flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Texas flag. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. You bow your head with me and pray real quick. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for today. Thank you for letting us just all gather here today and just express our thanks to you, God, for another day. I pray for all of us in this room, God, that we honor each other with our freedom of speech, God, that we all respect each other in this time, in the situations that we're going to talk about today. I pray that you give us guidance and wisdom that we may do your work. Help us this week and just show your love in everything that we do. In your name I pray. Amen. Amen.
Welcome, everybody. Today we have a good crowd. It's nice to see everybody. Thank you. I'm sure I know why everyone is here. We have an item on the agenda. We have quite a few people that have signed up. So if you plan to make a comment, you'll need to make sure you filled out one of these forms. So have it right up here on the podium. I'm assuming everyone is going to want to speak about the potential road closure. So when we get to that item on the agenda is when we'll allow those public comments, okay? Everyone has 5 minutes to speak that has filled out a form. Okay, item 2 on the agenda is the work session to review bills. Or agenda item 3 is to consider and approve payment of bills. Do we have any questions or?
To accept the bills as presented.
Second, any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Or thank you. Amy, do you have any payroll?
I do. We have total payroll and payables was 887,623.94. And we don't have any questions on it.
Since the last.
Month.
Oh, okay.
So that way there's a whole. Of course, yes.
Thank you. So I'm not sure to accept payroll. All in favor?
Item 5, any additions or corrections to the previous commissioners' court meeting? No corrections or additions to the regular meeting of March 27th, 2023. Thank you. Item 6 is our public comment time, and this is just in general public comments. It's not anything about an agenda item. Hearing none, we'll move on. And to item 7, which is to consider and approve the petition requested to close County Road Q, County Road 16, County Road 277. And Mr. Mr. Cooper, if you want to start.
Okay, on the map here, on County Road Q, which is the end.
To the right.
Coming out of Stinnett here. County. Road 16. Up here by the Omni tire, then it goes all the way down to Clemens Road, which Clemens Road starts down there at the beginning of our place and goes out to Highway 2277. But anyway, that's the proposed road closure we're talking about right now. There is a piece from the 2277 that's paved going into Clemens that we can't close it down for now. So anyway, that's the proposed road, and those two roads, like County Road Q and R, they go through Jones property there, and then on down to the Turkey Track before it comes on to the Clemens and Ranch Track. But anyway, the reason why we want to close these roads, or does anybody have any questions about the roads, where they're at? What we're talking about, because I know there was some confusion previously that the whole farm, the Mark Road 2277, Clemens Road and the bridge and all this can be shut down, which that was never planned. But anyway, the reason for shutting things down is we have experienced a lot of vandalism out here at our place, and there are some pictures I think we submitted. But anyway, we have a gate here that someone has instead of, I mean, we've had it locked and everything, but instead they're trying to drive through the gate. If you don't mind going to the next one. We've had 3 different times we've had a cattle run over down here and killed. I mean, they've been actually they've been run over and hurt, and I think we ended up we had to shoot a couple of them because they've been left out there all night. Had to drag them off the road, and that's just some pictures where we posted our road closures at the locations. This here's some vandalism down here at one of the houses we have down there that people have broke into. The trash, beer cans, everything hanging on the trees out there all over the roads. People, and then this right here is where somebody had started a fire out there. They had pallets piled up out there, burning fires that we found. And then just about 3 weeks ago, down there by the bridge, somebody had started the fire out there in the pasture. It wasn't off the road. They went out in the pasture and actually started the fire. And you know how the river's going to be if we get the river. It'll be, in fact, we had a fire down there last Friday in the river bed too. So it's quite a problem putting it out. But anyway, we've had a lot of problem with people poaching down there. Some of our neighbors to us or beside us, they've had people poaching in there, trespassing, and what the liability of people being out there on the property where they shouldn't be. You know, a lot of those roads, I know they're fun to drive down and all that, but they're just, they don't go anywhere anymore. They don't serve no purpose down there except for people to sightsee. I know some people are out there and they don't do anything, but we're having more and more vandalism, theft, and trouble out there. The sheriff's department don't have the resources to control this or take care of it. I think if we close these roads down, it gives the sheriff's department a little more time, less roads to try to control everything. And you know, we've had people talk about access to the cemetery and stuff. Anyway, I wanted to bring up something. You know, 20, 30, 40 years ago, if these roads would have been closed, the cemetery wouldn't have been desecrated as bad as it is today. I don't know if y'all been down there lately, but I went down there. There's nothing hardly left. There's trash dumped all over. The headstones are broke, kicked over, what's left of them. So, I mean, you know, this cemetery down there could have been a lot better shape. I think if people wouldn't have been allowed to go down in there. I know there's one over here by Sanford that if you want to get into that cemetery, you have to contact the landowner and they'll let you in. And that cemetery is still in really good shape. It's really nice out there. And there have been questions about people, the fire, if we have fires down there, the fire department getting in. I don't think they'd have any problem because last Friday, our people met the fire department down there on both sides of the river. Let them in, showed them how to get into everything so they could get in there and put it out. And they did an excellent job. It surprised me. You know how bad the river is. And they had it put out in just a couple of hours, I think that. And anyway, that's really all I want to have. If you don't have any questions, I'll answer them for you, but these are the reasons we'd like to have roads.
So just for clarification, real quick, that bridge, was that the bridge that goes to the Clemens Bridge? That was the picture you submitted.
Yeah, that's.
And then the fire that was right off 2270, that little pallet fire was right off 2277 on the paved road, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So neither one of those would be impacted by this at all.
No. It ain't, but
I just wanted to clarify that.
what I've been afraid of though, I don't know who's setting these fires. And I don't know why they're set. But they get on back up in there and set them, they're not gonna be found. We are gonna have a big problem with it. But it just kind of illustrates some of the problems we're having. I mean, I know a lot of people think there's nothing goes on out there, but there's in fact, weekends, probably any vehicle we stop out there after dark. They're gonna have a DWI or something if they want to press it. And maybe all of us have been there before too, you know, but anyway, thank you very much for your time.
Did you sign up to speak, Matt?
Yes, I did, and I asked Tim to answer a question.
Sure.
Tim, would you show along the road by pointing at the map where the different landowners' property lines are?
Okay, right here, this is coming off of Broadway.
Broadway.
1526. When it gets right here, it turns to County Road Q. And then there's a cattle guard down here, probably about a mile to 3/4 mile. This is where Alan Jones' property starts, here on County Road Q. And then back over here, if you go familiar with the Omni tires right about here. There's cattle guard right here on County Road R where Alan's property starts. So all of this right here, I think right here is where Wittenberg starts. It goes down to this point. We start here. Go back in. And our farm. Just to clarify. Yeah. And the rest of this, everybody. I think this was going to put it down from and it didn't come down the path.
Okay, I have several people that have signed up to speak. So remember, you have 5 minutes. And I'll just call them in the order that I've got them here in this stack. Brandon Snyder.
And just to let everybody know, when you have 1 minute left, I'll tell you 1 minute because I've got a timing.
I'm Brandon Snyder and born and raised here in Stinnett. I don't think it's any secret family issue, but also I'm coming more as a concerned citizen. I grew up on East Broadway here, lived on the end of Broadway here when I was growing up, moved away, went to college, had a couple of jobs there, moved back and have been there ever since. We're going on 30 plus years out there. And I think the one thing I want to do is say thank you to our law enforcement, fire department, all those. Those guys are outstanding at what they do. They do take care of us. We've made a few phone calls here and there. I mean, there's some things that concern us. And I think that's more of where I want to come from today, more than necessarily the family issue, but living out there for all those years. We see things, or know most of you, we know most of the traffic that's in and out. And, we know the oil field traffic. Majority of the time we know, and it's not just hey, that's so-and-so, it's a personal. No, the ranchers were involved in the ranching community. And it's another one of those deals. We all lean on each other for different things from time to time. And, like Tim was talking, fires, things like that. I mean, it's all of us. I mean, we're dropping what we're doing to go help each other. And that kind of leads me to my next deal. You know, we know the cars that are in and out there. It's not the, you know, Miss Munden, she is awesome. She is awesome at what she does. I come from a family that's based out of Hutchinson County. We're all about preserving. I mean, we are all about preserving everything we've, you know, had for years. He was talking about cemetery, things like that. Maybe if this would have been done sooner, you know, there is that possibility that there would still be something down there. But you know, it's not the Miss Mundens that we're worried about. It's not those types of things that concern us. It's the things that happen after dark. And I'm not saying everything happens after dark, but you know, knowing a lot of what goes on. But you know, you see, I know we're not supposed to profile, but you profile when you see a carload of you know, middle-aged men going out, you know, a four-door Cadillac going out on Broadway that never comes back. You know, I think probably about 2 years ago, 26-year-old kid riding out with a backpack on a bicycle goes out and meets a car. The car goes the other way. The kid comes back without a backpack. There's things. I mean, yeah, I'm going to profile. I'm going to question. There's, you know, not to throw anybody under the bus, but there's a couple of known houses in this community that we know what goes through them because they have had issues. And when you see the cars that are coming to and from those houses, because one of them's not far from us, one of them's a stone throw. And when you see those cars coming to and from our house, I mean, we're going to profile a little bit when they go out and head to the ranch and stuff. So the vandalism, things like that, you know, that are taking place, not to mention what's going through the properties, you know. You know, the other thing would be, you know, Leslie, she outstanding job taking pictures. She really does. And that's something that I think we'd all agree. Hey, you know, I'm speaking for landowners and I don't know this, but you know, the fact that she does such a good job of history and preserving and things like that. Send us a copy every now and then, you know, send us a, you know, we watch her on Facebook and we're like, you know, because 9 times out of 10, our job is rushing. We're rushing around to get things done. She's taking the time to enjoy that beauty. It is a beautiful place out there. And, you know, it's one of those things I think she does a good job of. I've got 2 little kids, you know. I've got 2 little kids and live out on this Broadway. That's the types of things that we get concerned with. And we do call them in every now and then. I mean, you got those guys that are, like I said, yeah, we're profiling, you know, middle-aged men running out there. And probably not, no, we don't tell our kids to play in the road. That's 60. You know, there's things that concern us about that. Speak for my family and all of our family. I think it's in the best interest too.
Thank you. Alan Mounts.
There are alternatives to stems or I don't see any no trespassing signs out there. I'm sure there are, but more stern warning on the access points going onto those roads, more stern warning signs. Be a solution or a help, and maybe a little bit more presence of the Hudson County Sheriff's Department. I know they're stretched. There's not enough. We just don't have near enough police force in our nation anymore. So I know that concern with, but maybe a little bit more presence. That's all I've got. Any questions?
At one point, weren't the landowners gonna put a phone number out there where you can call them where you can get in? Is that true?
Yeah, there's actually one out there now, by the bridge going on in the county.
So if somebody called you and say left a message or something, you can get back with them.
Yes, we can do that.
So it wouldn't be totally keeping you out. But at least they'd know who's in there.
Yeah. I understand.
And I understand your point too, but I also understand their point.
I do too.
As a landowner, I know.
Yeah. I understand that, but you're, if you close them off, you're taking some freedoms away from them. Yeah.
Thank you. Leslie Mondon.
Well, I can't just stand up here and talk. I gotta read. I'll probably cry like the last time I was here. I do want to thank you for this opportunity to speak. I'm asking for your consideration on the matter of closing the Rouse County Roads QR 16 and the Clemens Road. I appreciate Mr. Cooper's comments very much. I ask that you take your time in making the decision and think about its impact on those of us in this county who enjoy driving down those specific dirt roads. And I believe there are many of us that do just that. I drive those particular dirt roads probably 3-4 times a week. I'm a photographer, a nature lover, a historian, and a lover of dirt roads. And I'm also someone who grew up here, born and raised here. And I love the fact that I can go out east of town whenever I want to and enjoy the beauty of the Canadian River. It's scenic bluffs and getting to see the Clemens Forest, the old Hutchins County county seat, Clemens town site, and to be able to access the cemetery at times. The Clemens town site was plotted out in 1898. This road going directly out there, I believe, is the one that was first designated by I believe it's the first county commissioners court out of the county seat in Hutchinson County back when they organized, I believe, in 1901. I know Clemens isn't there anymore, but I can still see that little river town every time I top that last hill and cross that last cattle guard. I can still see the brick school. I timed this. I got an extra few minutes or extra second. I just hate to see this closed off. I do absolutely respect Mr. Cooper and the other ranchers out there. And I don't mean to disrespect them in asking for this. I'd just like to see you consider, just leave it open.
Thank you. Matt Chisholm.
Good morning, I'm Matt Chisholm, and I can understand both sides that are taking place and making comments on this. I actually stand in the middle ground, but I will express the reason for closing the roads. I actually have one road that is a county road in Hudson County. I have one that's been proposed as being a county road in Hudson County, which I refuse. And I have a county road in Greer and Harmon counties in Oklahoma. If I had my choice, I would close those roads because of the trespassing that goes on. I typically have 2 to 3 head of cattle hit per year on those roads. Most of them are dead by the time I find them, or I have to shoot them when I find them, and they lay there and rot. When you think about the price of cattle, that's not a cheap expenditure to have. Now then, the one I have in Hudson County that is a county road is Watkins Camp Road, which is north of Spring Creek School or northeast of Border. And that road is traveled by quite a few people, including 3 families that live on the paved part of that county road and some oil folks that work oil wells in that area. But I have a lot of other folks that drive it for virtually no reason. One that's been proposed that is not open, but I've offered the county ridge and road crew access to there anytime they want to, because they could drive a half-mile stretch through me, which is at the end of County Road H, which also is known as FM 1598. And I believe it's County Road 2 that runs north and south into that. But what happens is they get to the end of County Road H and they turn around and get County Road 2. They go 7 miles approximately around to get back to within less than a half a mile of where you just drive through me. So I've told them anytime they want to drive through, they are more than welcome to drive through to get to County Road 2 to do their road work there. But instead, they drive their equipment 6 to 7 miles around to get to that location. Now then, the closure of these roads, I don't see as being impeding public access places that people need to go. Anytime the fire department or the sheriff's department needs to get into those areas, they will have access. But it will also reduce the county's expense for the support of the fire department and the sheriff's department patrolling those areas. And that's a significant expense that would be reduced, but yet they would have access anytime they need that access. And the same on my property. I've told them anytime you need to enter, you feel free to enter. Not a problem. So that's all I have to say for now, is that I'm in favor of the closure of the road, but it's not to break friendships by people standing on the other side of this issue. Thank you.
Thank you. Billy Vinson.
I just come this morning to give my 2 cents on this situation. I take care of the Sanford Ranch, which is not even in Hudson County, but I used to feed that pasture of Alan Jones's there when I worked for Monty Johnson. And the problem with these deals like that and where I live now, there's county roads go through the Sanford Ranch, 2 of them actually. And I'm not here to, that's Carson County, so it's has nothing to do with this. But people dump couches, they dump recliners, they dump their tree trimmings, they run over our calves, they run over our cows. They turn vehicles over. And it's a problem. And like I said, I'm not trying to get that road closed at the moment, but I know the problem they're having here. And back in 2000, I lived at the 4 6s and there was the same kind of problems going on there. And we went to the judge in Carson County, and they granted those road closures. And it put a stop to all the chaos, the vandalism, cattle being run over, people dumping trash. And there really wasn't a backlash from it at all. And plus, the county didn't have to take care of, I don't know how many miles ago, but it was a lot. Where I live now, I can find four-wheeler motorcycle tracks, not on the county road, I'm talking about off the county roads. Only law-abiding citizens obey the laws, only law-abiding citizens obey no trespassing. It's all the other people that's the problem, and that's a shame. But I'm just here to support the closure of these roads because I know what they're dealing with. That's all I got.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Alan Jones.
I'm the owner of Crackers Bay Ranch. And the roads that are on me are in yellow right there. County Road R16 and Q. And the main road that I'm mainly concerned with is when it comes off Broadway. I've seen trucks doing 70 miles an hour. I've seen kids go out there. I used to be one of them, like probably a lot of people in there. Used to make that loop and go to the bear tree when it was real little, you know. You know, when we always did that, and now it seems like there's a different element though that goes out there, and they, in my opinion, they mess up things for people that don't have it. And it's really too bad. But we do have those problems that everybody's talked about. Him and Billy Paul. And, he did shut those roads down. It took care of those problems out there. And someday you're gonna be a part of what he is. So we have a, real exposure there, you know, in the land.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
The area or where the incident happened, where the cow got run over and you're being sued, it's on over the range or?
It was on 207.
Area wasn't over the range.
Yeah, it was down by the, rest stop where, people stopped at rest stop and they cut and damaged the fence all the time. So I don't know if that's how the cow got out or not. I found out about it after the fact.
Well, my point is that in open range, the vehicle operator, owner operator, whatever, the vehicle operator is responsible for replacing the cow. And calves or whatever, they were over.
Yeah.
On fenced in areas. Vehicle owner. No, it's the landowner's responsibility to have it in the pen, so they should not be liable for the calves that got.
Okay, that's a whole different issue.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
And all that's good in black and white is all I got to say.
Dusty Burson,
That way.
I'm Dusty Burston. I'm the manager of Dixon Creek to the 460s. And first off, I don't know, not real familiar with the actual road we're talking about. But as Billy Paul said earlier, what they did out there didn't help with the problem. It stopped the problem with drugs, with people just driving out there, getting into trouble. I mean, in my opinion, if there's not a reason for the public to go across there, I don't know why they have any White County road. But like I said, that's kind of speaking out of turn, because I'm not real familiar with where the road actually goes. But you know, and to the point of, I understand everybody's point here. You know, I'm bad with names, but you know, you're worried about your kids' safety. I mean, I'm worried about our cattle, you know, getting run over, and the price of cattle and horses, and I mean, much less just you're destroying your property and dumping trash and stuff. But I also understand that, you know, people want to go sightsee. But I mean, as we lock down all of our roads out there where, you know, there's no public access, period. People like you, ma'am, and other people that want to just drive around and use their, I mean, there's ways to get around that. I mean, if the landowners here would allow it, I mean, they can let you in. You mentioned the phone number there. I mean, to me, there's ways that you could let people in that aren't going to fit up to the property. And I mean, the way the world is now, you're right, Ellen, the liability issue, you know, but you could have them sign a waiver on that, you know, just to protect yourself, because that is a real issue right now that we're going to see more and more of. But, you know, like I said, I mean, if you want to go in there and take pictures, well, I don't see, I mean, I may be wrong, but I don't think there's a landowner in here that would have a problem with you going in there and doing that. It's just taking a few more steps to protect the landowner, you know. But like I said, I'm not most of our ranches in Carson County, obviously we do have some here, but I guess I would be in favor of shutting them down if there's not a reason for the road to be going across there. You know, if anybody's got any questions on what it did for us out there, but like I said, it ended it when Billy Paul got them all shut down, because there was all kinds of stuff going on. And I mean, you were not wanting to profile people, but it was late at night, it was kids, it was, you know, drugs and people that had zero business being out there. It wasn't the sightseers and people that wanted to go, you know. So in my opinion, that's the only way to end it, is to probably close them.
thank you. Okay, that's everybody that that signed up to speak. So do y'all have any questions for Mr. Cooper? Or comments? Do you want to put that other map up, Jerry? Yeah, there we go. This is the map that TxDOT has, and the colored ones are maintained by the county.
Yeah, that's, TxDOT maintains inventory for all the county roads, and we're supposed to do a biannual reports to keep those updated. That map is off of TxDOT.
TxDOT.
Which is very close to the map you are using. The only thing I saw different was at the south end of the County Road 16, where the green is at the bottom.
Green.
That is
Get down to the
still
house.
designated by TxDOT as a county road. And what your map, I think, showed was it running east and west that had been closed. But I don't think so, because all lettered roads run east-west, numbered roads run north-south. So I'm pretty sure that TxDOT was right.
It's listed
And-
16 both, like as a 90-degree angle north and then back east.
Do what?
It's
Right.
listed 16 as north and west.
It should change in that direction.
Right, I agree,
Yeah.
but it closed, I don't know if it just continued back because County Road R technically starts going south at this side, so, but yeah, from east-west, County Road 16 was closed.
Even
Sandbar.
it's even marked on there to show these roads going all the way out to the black that are not really involved in this, so that everybody gets perspective. This is off of TxDOT.
So somebody said, I don't remember who it was, that mentioned that fire and law enforcement, if the roads were closed, that fire and law enforcement would have access. How do they get access to the?
Well, they can have keys to all the gates to get in there, or when they've been there before, they just got spaces.
Like if there was a fire and they needed out there, or an EMS issue or whatever.
Because we're already having fires out there that just cut. And, you know, whatever shortage way in, which is fine, we'll follow up behind them and just finish and go on. But the last Friday, we had the big fire down there, and our guys, I know I was on one side of the river, some of our guys were on the other side of the river, showing how to get in the fastest way, making sure gates were off. We went down to the open doors, thing like that, when we get in. But I mean, we try to, you know, when something like this happens, we're probably gonna be there before they are. And try to help them get in on the fire. On the law enforcement, there's no one lives out there or EMS, so it had to be an accident of some sort happened. But like I say, no one lives out that area, so that's kind of I know like game wardens and stuff, they have access to our place anytime they want it. I mean, they can come and go. Feel free to, but but like I said, the sheriff's department, I know they're stretched thin. But by closing this down, it would save them a lot of time. They don't have to control that area. And if they do get after somebody, it kind of keeps them from having another route out of the place down there. Because that's a lot of, there's just an area down there for people that you just can't corral everybody up. So.
Matt, did you have a comment?
Did have a comment that on a lot of these gates, there would be an Excel Energy lock because Excel Energy has access. And the fire department and sheriff's department both have keys to those locks. Now, some individuals that don't have any business being in there might have keys, but they're caught in there and that lock has been accessed, then they are trespassing. And so that's when the sheriff's department would be called, to make an arrest, trespassing or game warden. So that's how I say they have access, readily have access, and not only from the landowner, but from having keys to those locks.
Say something.
Oh, Oh, hold on, sir, in the back.
We've given the fire departments and sheriff department, and everybody keep, so they can get in, during the fires. If there's an accident or anything, I'm not saying every car, and they probably should, this may make me go get them for them, but, the fire departments, they have a key. If there's a road there, going in on our gates, they can get in, or they can cut the pins.
Okay.
If it's better, but
All right, thank you.
Also, since the fires in 2006, that claimed 13 lives here and in other places when 1.4 million acres burned up. Our fire departments and emergency response people have done an excellent job on their responses now. And I mean, they really do a good job. And I'm saying though that the access, we have another part of our ranch that's shut in, and they don't have any problem getting any part of it.
On state statute 251.051, paragraph D, it says Commissioners Court may not discontinue, close, or abandon an entire first class or second class road unless the road has been vacated or unused for at least 3 years. That would affect County Road Q and the very south end of Clemens Road. So that's part of the statute. It does not affect any of the third class roads.
So right there from the cattle guard to 16.
Yeah,
That's a
that is a
second
second class road, and it's
road.
designated by DOT as a second class road. Then the very far south end of Clemens Road was part of a paved, a little bit of second class.
So it's the first class, just between two blues.
Yeah.
It right above that, those two yellow dots, is that
That's
second?
class.
Is that a second class right above, right down there on Clemens Road? Yeah, right there. That's first class, but right above, is it second class right now?
It's a little second class as the paved. It's been improved on top of the. So I think it goes, that go almost to the ends where it's been pulled up and topped. That would be second class. So it's supposed to be vacated around each for the next 3 years. So. That's good. Described as means to terminate the existence of road by direct action of the Commissioners Court of the county. It has not been vacated. Commissioners Court has never vacated the road, so. And for the things will be basically unused. We don't have a need for it. So I don't know how you're going to unused until it's. Seems so complicated. It's looking down both sides. This isn't my precinct, so. So we're against it, but you can see where some messages and calls we got behind the scenes. Be here. So everyone knows some of them were emergency responders. They're concerned also about the access. Their concern was access in the same fields that it's the units not getting stuck and getting and so that's what they relate to me.
closed. She closed the camp. So problems that were mentioned about vandalism, trespass and things like that. Unfortunately, the first instance just stopped. Just push things somewhere else. So we just want something else to do. But I'm afraid that if we start closing these kind of roads, as Mr. Chisholm said, there's a lot more ranchers that have county roads on these properties that they're going to shrink every county road in the county to try to close it, to try to stop these problems. I have one proactive constable that I have mentioned. I spoke last time when we discussed this about environmental enforcement, setting up game cameras and trying to catch people doing this. And I do, and she's not here, she's unable to be here today, but she has moved to go through training and do some of this environmental enforcement. And possibly setting up game cams at the drinking tree and at some of these problem areas to try to catch some of these issues. Mr. Jones, when you mentioned the incident that happened with the guy falling off your truck, you know, that's a terrible incident, but I don't think you didn't close your business. You didn't just stop operation because that happened. You try to take the steps to make sure that doesn't happen again. And so that's how I kind of lean towards things is we can always close these roads 5-10 years from now. If we close them now, we can't get them back. And so if we try to get a proactive approach to try to stop some of these problems, at the same time trying to keep some of the freedoms open, because these were county roads before these were ranches. And the ranches were formed knowing that these were county roads, and the landowners knew that these were county roads when they came in, knowing that this would be a potential problem. And so obviously there's going to be half the room mad, half the room happy, but that is where I stand today, knowing that there are issues out there, but I want to try to fix them and try to see some of the potential proactive measures we can do, because we can always approach this from a closure standpoint at some point down the road. We can't ever open them back up if we close them. So that's where I stand.
That road, County Road R right there, that intersects with 16. It's like a road that goes to nowhere.
Well, it's the road, County Road R from 16
Right.
west.
That
road is nearly impossible to maintain because of the pipelines and sand, and it's a horrible road.
Is there a reason why we couldn't just close that? I mean, I know that's not going to stop all that problem, but it would stop it into that direction.
That road should have probably been
It
closed.
goes to
long.
nowhere.
And then that little part of 16 down on the south end, it's absolutely goes to nowhere.
Right there. Yeah.
That's, of course, it's not marked there, but it's still a county road. It goes nowhere. It goes to nothing.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. My question is, why would you need these roads in the future? Where do they go? What public access do they provide? Why are they needed? Next thing I'll say, there was an incorrect statement made that once you close a county road, you can never reopen it. That's not true. That road can be requested and reopened for a new road built, provided access provided by the landowner to do so. So that was not a correct statement.
Well, if all the landowners want to close it, then they're not going to give it back. So that's how I base my statement. Yes, sir. Yeah, I don't know if she needs to be.
I was just wondering if anybody could tell me what county roads were actually initially, why they were built, what they were built for. Can everybody tell us?
Access to Clemens.
But what,
Well,
yes, sir.
Clemens was one time the county seat.
County seat.
In general,
Yeah.
though, what they were actually, county roads in general,
Transportation for the public,
Yeah.
rural public.
Access to somewhere.
plus around, yeah.
Yeah.
Things like that.
And there's a lot of abandoned roads out there now.
Right.
That was once county maintained, not necessarily a county road, they were maintained by the county.
I'd like to get some clarification from our county attorney in regards to that statute that you found in regards to the second class road being vacated or unused?
I think it needs to be cleared up because
Yes.
just like Alan said, I mean, what's considered abandoned? What's vacated? What's the law say? I mean, if it says we have to make a motion to attempt to abandon that road, then do we have to wait the 3 years?
Right,
And the way it's worded in the statute, you go to this place, then you go over to a different place. It's kind of conflicting. So you can't vacate. It says the commissioner's court can't vacate the road or can't close the road until it's vacated. Well, you can't vacate a road until the commissioner's court makes a ruling on it. So I don't know how you go do that.
right. We would just get some clarification from our county attorney
Clarification myself.
in regards.
That does affect mainly all of County Road Q. And a little bit on the south end.
Right. I hate to keep kicking the issue down the road, so to speak, but I would like to get some clarification on that part of it before we move forward with making a decision one way or the other. Are y'all all right with that?
Then if that road is vacated, then what's the law say? We need to follow the law,
Right, absolutely.
but I'm not sure how to interpret that.
It's kind of confusing.
It's very confusing.
And we had a month to do that, though. I think Craig helped drop the paperwork, so
Do what?
I think Craig helped drop that paperwork with Mr. Cooper, didn't he?
Excuse me.
Our county attorney helped drop that paperwork, didn't he?
Yes, and,
That was one issue we
Yeah.
had not talked about.
So what is the proposal here? If totally vacate these roads or to shorten the length of them? Or all of them are gone or what? I mean, what are we proposing?
I think it's to shorten this road.
To close it.
Right, to close it, but not close it from end to end is to make it shorter. Is that correct?
yeah, that's correct.
Shortening from end to end.
Except for maybe County Road 16, if you want to put the whole thing down, which is it, like I said, down there on the south end, it don't go,
Right,
but it don't, County Road R and Q don't go up there either. Most part.
Yeah, you're closing County Road R completely. And County Road 16 completely.
Yeah, that's 100%. And each one of these roads stand independent.
Yeah.
right.
You can't
Just trying to-
close them all as a group. I mean, each road is an independent road. And so if you closed all of R, then that's a complete closure.
That's a
by
complete
shortening.
closure. And 16,
Yeah,
Like
if you closed all of 16, of course, you could leave the south end open, but I don't know why you'd want to do that, have to maintain that, but
Well, you know, but that's not gonna close off all of County Road R because there's still part of it. Goes back to County Road 14.
yeah. Of course, the Omni station is on that part right there, just west of that cattle guard on R. It's right on the north side of the road. That's not involved in this.
Right.
any comments, thoughts, motions? I mean, yes, Craig has given us some, oh, here Craig texts me. Let me see what he's got to say. Okay, the statute applies to closure of an entire class 1 or class 2 road. They aren't seeking to close the entire road in any circumstance.
Say that again?
Okay, Craig says the statute applies to closure of an entire class 1 or class 2 road. They aren't seeking to close the entire road in any circumstance. So because Q goes from the cattle guard on down to 1526, is that what that is? It's not the entire road. Is what Craig, I believe Craig is
I don't
saying.
know where
It's
the
not
other
on R
landowner,
either.
the other landowner stands there, but I don't know.
Well, yeah, that's someone else's land, right?
Yeah, that's Rob A. Brown's.
He wanted that left over.
Huh?
He wanted that left over.
That's the entrance into his house. So it's,
There at the cattle guard, Dwayne asked for an acre or so to do a turnaround. For county equipment, which I think Alan was allowing this.
I don't know. So if I understand what you just said, that the statute would not apply
It doesn't apply,
because we're shortening it and it's not closing the entire road.
right?
Okay.
That's the way I understand what Craig said.
That's why we split County Road 16 out where it was a big kilometer.
I don't,
So that little bit right there. So
it never remains a county road. It's gotta be maintained. We gotta make a special trip down there to maintain that half-mile of road. I wish we could do away with it.
Well, I'd like to.
But-
What I'm gonna say is that closes the complete County Road 16.
if we close that portion right there.
It's true.
Yeah, so then it would come into play then.
And the other thing for them, we don't have to maintain.
I don't know why it was ever cleated in the first place. It's. I don't know.
Back in the day, a lot of them were like that,
That was only about 4 or 5 years ago that road was cleated.
really.
Maybe 5, I think, something like that. And it went to nowhere.
Really. Didn't make sense.
Okay. Does anybody have any other questions? Comments? Is there a motion? One way or the other? Y'all want to table it and think about it?
We've had a month.
All right, yes, sir.
Somebody's got to show their cards and say where they stand.
Passionate about this. You see the consequences of things that happen. A livestock.
And all of this area out here is open range?
And this area, yeah, from the cattle guard, that's all open range.
Should be. Cross mine. Yeah. Can be avoided.
No, it's not.
I'm not. I've been able to tell it, you understand my stance, and it's not a. Yes, I typically with the just back there. Taxpayers. The city that I was raised out of my area, so. I actually had a person that was driving as far as it was. Actually, while I was driving, I was part of the ranch. Speak to somebody. And so it happened about 20 minutes before they got to me on the road.
I don't think it happened out there on Farm Club.
It happened right at County Road. Our just about out of this bridge. It's Baby Grace. And it did say it happened that unfortunately, I'm not calling anybody out, but it did happen on it's south of the on the Plymouth Road. And so that's why I said, and that's why.
Well, you know, if there was a reason to be out there, I could see it. I just.
So then, and this is why it's hard to be an elected official, because we're elected to make a stance that we think is right. And that's why sometimes when things like this happen, it gets awkwardly silent because some people don't want to talk about where they stand. We get into that discussion, then we're telling people what they can and can't do. They have a right to be on those county roads. Why are they out there? Past the line of illegalities and legal purposes. If they just want to drive out there just to get away from their spouse for a little bit, just to get out into nature. And I see your points, but I'm saying as of now, they were county roads and a lot of people use those to get out. And I wasn't saying that anybody here was getting away from their spouses or anything, but if they just want to get away. That's,
you know, well, back when you were on the hay hook, you probably weren't out there shooting holes in the feed tanks, the water tanks, or. Yeah, you probably weren't doing all this.
no.
You know, back in this spot, I never minded anything being out there, I never expected the amount of vandalism and trash and this.
And I
the disrespect that people show everybody.
Right. And I understand.
I'm surprised you're kind of on board with that.
Well, I'm on board with, and I always have been this way. I'm on board with protecting the freedoms of people and that saying that we can always close it later on. If we get a chance to try to clean up some of this mess, it's not, hold on just a second, Mr. Cooper. If we close these roads, that's not going to stop the idiots from being idiots. We have idiots in the town. We can't just stop restricting things from good people to try to stop the bad. We have to find another solution to that. And that, I just don't think that's the way. And so
now, this has been going on for about 2 years and you were going to take care of some of that and you never did.
we haven't, because I didn't have anybody that would do the environmental enforcement. And I do agree.
Surely somebody in 2 years would have had time to do this.
Well,
It's been about 2 years since I brought this up.
Yeah. And we haven't had a law enforcement that's willing to do that, but now we have a constable we appointed in December that said that they would do it.
Because you don't ever talk to me, so I don't know. I mean, someone would come and talk to me, I talk to any of these people, and you know, Matt, who walked out, a lot of people in here. Sheriff's office has been contacted to help. I've been over backwards every time to send that, you're off, not myself away. So, you know, if I'm not letting know some things are going on and I can't do anything about it. And I don't communicate with Mr. Crockett at all and talk.
We do. We do. If you want to, we'll talk about that later.
About these issues. I just want to make sure that my agency is not liable, not doing our job, and I damn well do my job. I damn well have my deputies go out and do their job as well. So I'll leave it there.
So a year and a half ago, I did approach the sheriff and asked him a little bit after that. and he had no desire to do the environmental enforcement. So if you want to get involved on that, we do talk. The problem is, just like this, I share my opinions and ask questions, and sometimes there's butting of heads. I have no problem working with law enforcement about that. And if we want to talk afterwards, Blake, we can, because I have no, if you want to talk about that, but constable approached me about doing it. And if we want to talk about that, we can. I mean, we don't talk because if we're going to be honest, you have a problem when I ask questions in this court and you have a problem with me. And I have no problem with that. If we want to talk and better for the good of this county, we can. And so if we want to work together for Mr. Cooper to try to solve this, I'm all for it.
Can I say something there?
Yeah.
The south end, the class 1, of course, we can't close it right now. If all the north part is not where the most of the scenery's at, it's, I don't know why you drive up there. Is it possible to leave it open coming in off of the 2277 to Old Plymouth? And then just have access there, and then I would be much more favorable in closing the rest. And that's only an option, not a suggestion.
Count it like
That's not
be close.
That's not a suggestion. I'm just asking.
Well,
I know that goes right by your corrals, right through
so it leaves that whole road,
them. Yeah,
and that's where we've had the animals run over at. And
I agree.
all of our, our equipment will leave down there. And I don't know if they shoot it out or hit them with rocks or whatever, but you got equipment, when it's called.
Like the reason that first class paved part is of absolutely no use. I mean, if you close the rest, it's, I don't know why it's there. It's,
I just send all people itself, but I mean, we're willing to leave that open.
yeah, I don't know why it would, it's actually be a problem because people go in there and they can't go nowhere. They have to find a place to turn around out on your grass or something. So
That's,
because there's no place to go.
and I realize if they get down there, they can't go where they got to turn around on our grass. So, I mean, I understand that if we have to leave it open, but it
That
just makes sense to me.
If that ended up what happens, then there probably needs to be a turnaround there. The county needs to make a turnaround because there's no place to go. There's not, if a truck goes down there by accident, how you go get out of there?
Well, yeah, we put the term,
Yeah.
that's not the problem. I mean, the thing is, we're trying to work with everybody on this, but I just can't still, I mean, I understand people want to go out there and have for the fun of it and all that, but probably after dark, anybody you stop on that road, they're gonna have a DWI if they get pulled over. We got the poachers out there all the time. I mean, it's just,
I know you're talking to me about it. I don't disagree that there's problems out there. But there, I mean, we have DWIs on the roads all over the place. And it's just one of those things that I think for me, and that's what I'm saying, I'm not saying you're wrong or I'm disrespecting you guys. For me, if we get a chance, and like I said, when I said 2 years ago, I wanted to find those traffic counters and fridge, we never could get them. So if we buy them ourselves, we could do it, but I did never do that. But we can always close these roads 5 to 10 years later by trying some of the other, and that's mine. I'm not against.
well, it makes me feel like you're kicking the can down the road because like 2 years ago, nothing happened at all. I even called and asked, what are we gonna do? What can we do? I never got an answer from nobody. I mean, it's kind of like I've been pushed off, cans been coming down the road. And I don't appreciate that. I don't think you've done me right. I know you say you have, but I don't think you have.
Well, if you think that's why I'm here. I apologize if you think I kicked you down the road, but
Well, I mean, in 2 years' time, what would you call it? Well, bend over backwards to help us in 2 years?
I started driving those roads more to see if there was more dumping and more.
Because the first time we did it, you didn't know where they were.
I knew where they were.
No, you didn't.
I didn't know. So
We come into your office and showed you on your map for those.
exactly where, look, there's a lot of people here that have grown up here that when you asked, like you said, County Road QR and 16, I wanted to look at a map exactly where. I mean, I know exactly where it was in the, I used to hunt out there north of the bridge. And so I will admit, I didn't know exactly where you wanted to close them. So yes, I met you with Dwayne to see exactly where, because I am somebody who wants to see exactly what we're talking about. And so I did have to meet with Dwayne to look at the map to see exactly where the close, but that doesn't mean I didn't know it was in Old Clemens. I never said, well, is that in Holt community? I didn't say, and you've got to give me that. I knew where it was.
But even like, oh, there's nothing there. There is nothing there right there.
So, and that, I wish Craig was here. And I did get this question. Maybe you guys can answer it. There were a couple of land, and this is for the court, I guess. There's a couple of plots out there in Clemens that people own land. What does that do do you know what that does since they're landlocked and how?
I can tell you exactly, because we've got another situation over on some other property.
Okay.
The landowner cannot keep those people off their parcel or tract or whatever we got.
So do they get like free access? Like they don't have to call you or anything?
No, they may have to call to open the gates up to them because they are trespassing against our land
Okay.
to get to theirs.
So if they climb through the fence, it's trespass.
Tim, is there any landowners up in that area that's not involved with this? That this shuts them off of public road?
Except, well,
They're already closed. The ones I'm talking about are already closed off.
No, that doesn't matter.
Old Plymouth.
I'm just talking about a county road.
the only landowner, those roads, Kutch, the Allen, and Whitburg. There's no other property owners on the roads.
Then
County Road 16 on the south side, Kutch, home. But that right there, be the only thing on County Road 16 there on the south end. All the rest of it is just free land.
Well, Robert. Are you putting Robert?
Yes, on
There's a lot of vandalism there.
in fact, it ain't been a couple weeks
So
ago.
there's another map up there. They had a abandoned house
If it's
3 years ago.
short,
The
you know,
house
the
was
road.
abandoned.
Mine
is from the-
If you're talking short.
Oh, by the Hudson County Sheriff. They call it that. They never issued one. Had the name.
So even though you're a landowner that's past the county road there, you're willing to close them?
Yes.
You know,
Someone get a right of way.
you can get,
What are some things that you propose that would help? You're not for shutting them down. What are some things that stop some of these things?
So there is, and I do admit, a couple of years ago, this was what I approached Mr. Cooper with, and I just didn't get the traction I could have, but so I do apologize. It's took longer and that you do feel that I did you wrong. I do apologize. I really do. Because I don't want you to ever feel that way. But and if you want me to keep you updated, and I'll give you the constable's number too. And if Blake, if you want to talk about this too with me, I'll be more than happy to meet with you. So we're all on the same page. In Ector County, they do some environmental enforcement where they catch illegal dumpers and people that are breaking environmental enforcement laws that the fines on those are a little bit more heavier than just small misdemeanors. So they take those fines and they put them into an environmental enforcement fund. They put them in places like beer corrals, things like that to catch some of this activity that's going on. And if we don't catch them, we can always and what Ector County does, they'll send pictures that will say, does anybody know this truck? Does anybody know this vehicle? And they publicly blast them and they did this presentation to us, and they have coworkers on some trucks, they have their logo on them. When you're dumping tires down there, they have scratched exits or things like that. They don't even say so just a more proactive approach of setting up some eyes out there that tries to get a little bit more. Because I see both sides. It was terrible, but we can fix those issues or make it a little bit more better. We also keep it open for the people that aren't going to destroy it. This closing stop the vandalism on this property, but they're going to go to Mr. Chisholm's area. They're going to go to other places. It's not necessarily really bad. Not that. That's fine.
Shortening that area, shortening the area. Sheriff and his deputies will have less patrol, so maybe some.
I'm the one who said these guys about what you're saying. I'm the one who's gotten it. Some of this big records.
We need to get this shut down. We need to stop all this bull crap. And get rid of all the people just being afraid of more in. Clemens isn't there anymore.
That's what I said, there's no reason for it to be there.
Very quickly,
Ms. Mondon, yes.
as far as Brock was saying, becoming more proactive, since July of 2021, when this was first addressed in County Commissioners Court, and he talked about all of the littering out there around the beer tree and along those county roads. Myself, my grandkids, our church group, and I know of at least one other family in Stinnett that has started periodically picking up the litter along the county roads out there. I don't know how to stop it. And I'm trying to help. And I know other families are too, because they value their freedom to be able to.
I'll give you that. Everybody did get out there and clean that up.
Those beer cans off those.
Everybody did. They forgot the bra on the beer tree.
No.
Mr. Jones, I want to say something. This is emotional, and it's easy in this day and age to just get pissed at people because they don't agree. And I know you're pissed at me right now because of my stance. I understand that. I do. But that has been a county road, and the risks and the financial liability was known. And I know you're mad at me. That's just my stance. I'm one vote. But I was elected. I'm elected by the people just to say, and I think we need to all just go down the line, because sometimes when we take stances like this, we're not the popular people. And that's why I want to work with you guys. And
I try to get a road changed to a one-way going in front of our shop because the kids would get out of school during lunch hour and we would be unloading the truck and they would be doing 60 miles an hour by the time they left Brown's Funeral Home. I tried to get that road shut down. Garrett Spadlin stood right there in a forum just like this right here. And he told me, he said, well, there's laws against people doing that. I said, well, that ain't going to do the guy that gets killed any good. If they do throw him in jail, it's not going to do any good.
You know, people have access to go out there if they request it. How are we picking their freedoms where?
For me, if you even just one more step to have to call somebody on a county road, that's removal of that freedom.
Doesn't need to be a county road.
And I value your opinion. I really do. I'm not not arguing.
But our freedoms don't count.
Your freedoms do count, but that was a county road when when this has been going on.
Right.
And so that's why, but that's why I'm not just saying I don't want to close it. You guys do whatever you want. Where I stand is I'm not foreclosing it now. I want to work with you guys, and if Blake's willing to do the environmental enforcement with us, let's all get together and then see, and then we can from me, and I'm not saying this is the court. We can revisit it later and say it didn't work, because everything is getting worse. Drugs, backpacks, they're in the city limits all the time.
Well, every county road's
So-
got the same problem.
For me, if we can get more of and this could be a solution to all the county roads, like every rancher has a county road that has this type of stuff. And if we can find a solution, and then 3 to 5 years later, it doesn't have to be that long, we can say that didn't work, let's revisit it.
I'll agree with you.
And that's where I'm at.
What's your solution?
I just talked about like the game cameras and working, and because I'll sit down with both of you guys and talk about Ector County.
Game cameras don't work. They get stolen, they get torn up. The thieves find them. We've done it in our scrap yards. We've done it everywhere. They don't work.
I'll give you.
And then you get pictures, excuse me.
Yes, sir.
And then you get pictures of somebody. You get their cell phone. You have their clothes with their names in it. And law enforcement still can't do a damn thing.
And that's where we get together and talk about it. Because I can sit down with you and give you Ector counties, because they do it. There's several counties that have environmental enforcement that they're getting charges, and they're getting fines built up, and they have to pick up 1 or 2 tons of tires and pay a fine. I mean, obviously we can't do that part, but there's solutions. That's why I'm saying that's just me. I'm one vote. That's where I stand. And if we can't find a solution, I'm asking you guys, if it doesn't get shut down, I want to work with you guys. And I have a constable, and hopefully the sheriff, we can all sit down and we can say, this is what we're looking at.
You really think one guy can handle that?
It's not one guy.
Well, one constable?
Well, they're not going to be driving it 24/7. I mean,
they're not.
that stuff, and then also the question, like some of the pictures that were brought, 2277, that aren't going to be, they're not going to be fixed by any of these county roads closed. I mean, the bridge and the fire that was set on the pavement. I mean, that if we close the roads, they're probably going to be more apt to do it on that part. And then it's just not.
Actually, I think some of it's retaliatory.
And I do, I've told people, I mean, people get pissed on each side, and that's where we as a community in the county, that's why I said, I'm glad you guys are here on both sides. There's gonna be people that are pissed on both sides, regardless of the decision. I had messages that were like, and I saw the messages, maybe we should just go out there and just drive and show them what's up. Or maybe I told people that that's not a good idea, and that's ridiculous, and I don't support that at all. I don't support, even if they don't want to close it, don't go to the means of emotional jerkishness to try to prove that these are county roads and should be. We should all work together. We're all taxpayers. And I want to stand with you guys if we can find, and that's where if they vote to close the road, that's not on me. I want to find a more proactive solution, because I see it starting a chain reaction.
Well, like I say, some of these fires, I believe, are retaliatory. I can't prove that, but they're not by the road.
Yeah.
They're off out in the pasture, no power line, nothing else around. Which it kind of, that aggravates me. I'll agree with you. I'm for any solution, but I don't think your game cameras are going to do one bit good, because we've had game cameras before and they don't work. I mean,
Don't work.
they just don't work. I wouldn't waste the time. So anyway, you might believe that, but I just don't think
Yes, sir.
so. I don't think one constable in any way, he has no way to be time to control this stuff. And I'm not talking about just ours, I'm talking about, you're talking about the whole county, you got one constable.
We have 2 constables, but one has mentioned that she's approached me about it because she saw me mentioning that at the last time that she,
So they can work 2 12-hour shifts, right?
well, they're not going to patrol that 24/7.
Yeah,
Yeah, and then if that's to close it, then all the ranchers are going to want to close all the county roads.
this is not
So
one place. The trash is not one place. The trash is a people problem, not a road problem. We got people disrespecting things.
and I do know
Everywhere. I mean,
that's what
it's,
I mean, I listen to all you guys. Sorry about it.
Well, you're right, it's everywhere.
It is
And it's
everywhere. I mean,
because-
that's a normal thing. I think we're all closing up roads everywhere.
And I get it, it's y'all's land, but it's gonna be somebody else's land later. It's gonna be somebody else's land. And so for me, I want to find more of a proactive measure, try to find some stuff that works. And if it doesn't, for me, closing the roads are the last ditch effort. Because just like, Mr. Jones, you were talking about that accident. I mean, it is an unfortunate thing, but you didn't close the business because an accident happened. It could have, it could have. I agree. It could have.
If people come and attack you, if something bad happens to them on your land, they will come and attack you.
Yeah.
You're responsible for that. So what you're saying is you want everyone
So.
to have a whole for liability. Whenever I live on Broadway, I live right there. You come out there, there's no damn reason to be out there. There is no reason to be driving out there to.
I'm
So
sorry.
liability on the county road is not your land though. So that, I just wanted to clarify that. I mean, liability,
Cows that get out on that county road will be our liability.
and so it is free range, but in that, and I'm not telling you to,
Cut this down.
a lot of counties say, well, then make a motion. We can make a motion. I'm just trying to be.
I think the issue here, you're gonna be surprised by me speaking up, but the issue here is whether we need those roads or not. And I agree with everybody that likes to go out there. I don't want to infringe on anybody's rights or anything, but I can see the problem they're having. And if we close these roads down, then we're gonna shorten the area that we're gonna have to patrol and maybe catch some of these characters doing some of this dumping and stuff, because it happens all over the county. It happens in my precinct. It happens next to my property. So I would like to make a motion that we close these roads. And I know I'm gonna make people mad.
Okay, and I'd like to add to your motion a little bit.
Just, well, under the condition that people have access.
Yeah. I'd go along with your motion, make a turnaround where no one gets locked there, where you've talked about make the turnaround coming off 1526. There by the cattle guard, again,
Right.
Rob A. Brown's. Make a turnaround so nobody gets trapped. On the south end, make a turnaround at the end of the blacktop. Where it's blacktop right there.
Mhm.
Have it posted. Anybody who wants to go to Old Clemens can get a hold of you and you're not going to deny them. And-
Reasonable. I don't want to be called at 9 o'clock at
Yeah.
night.
Well, I understand. And you can put on there from certain time
I
to.
mean, it's their property. They have the right to deny someone access.
Well, what I'm saying is, I mean, people would have legitimate reason, not just anybody.
And all these people have.
And like if Leslie, anybody wants to go out there and take pictures or just go out there and walk around the old cemetery or whatever. That's,
There's some guy, I don't know who he is.
And or just take pictures along.
I think it's
But
to
he,
shorten.
I still like his.
I'll agree to that in the motion.
We're gonna, how the results gonna.
Shortening from end to end is what that is, and it does not require a unanimous vote.
There's no total road closure there. County Road R still stays open a little bit.
Mhm.
Lemons Road still stays open a little bit. County Road
So it-
2 still stays open on,
That's what Craig said here in his opinion. That was a shortening from end to end,
there is no,
which would only require a majority vote.
if you leave the south part of 16 open.
Right?
uh,
Doesn't close that whole road.
That's not a total closure. But as long as
You're
you,
gonna leave you're gonna leave the south part of 16 that goes nowhere open, just so you.
I think that's. That's not the intention that we should use, but
That's what y'all are using.
Well, yeah, you just said it goes to nowhere. County Road 16 goes.
Well, they're voting to leave that part open.
But that's not part of the proposed closure.
So I agree. I think that road should be closed. I think that part of 16 should be closed. To change the vote. County Road 16 goes nowhere. It should.
It's still gonna be open.
Close all 16 of both ends without a unanimous vote, 'cause that's a total road closure.
So there is not proposed to be closed.
But it goes nowhere.
However, the bottom part is listed in your. What you posted. It's not on the map.
Craig said he revised. Submitted an alternate plan. So this is the alternate plan.
Which would close that.
That was part of it, so. The closing requested by Mr. Cooper would require a unanimous vote, the original closing. However, Mr. Cooper has submitted an alternate plan which includes a lesser closing. I took that one out. And so, and that's not. Shows.
16. On that. And that's still gonna continue though.
They go right through our place, on through,
So how are you now going to, because that stays open? So how are you?
That's about stops.
There, so. Oh. Whose land is on the north side of that fence? That's yours. Okay.
And he has had a lot of problems on his side. Going for us again.
Well, my decision on this kind of changed a little bit the last few days because the original concept of these roads is gone and it's why they're there. So,
Right. Yeah.
I mean, there's no. There's really no reason.
They're all roads that really only go through their ranch. They go nowhere,
They.
although they do go somewhere. Okay, let's move on. All right, item 8. Yes, thank you, everybody. Y'all are welcome to stay or come back anytime. Thank you. Okay, item 8 is to consider and or approve obtaining county credit cards from city for various departments and or individuals.
I've had a few changes in the request for credit cards. The district attorney has changed their request from 3 cards down to just 1 card. So I reversed off the original approved amounts. The juvenile department has requested credit cards for all of their staff members. Then JP1 has requested credit cards for both Leslie and Marissa, and then that says district for 84th district clerk, and it should be 84th district judge. He changed his request from individual cards to just 1 But I think he's going to do just one department card, but I haven't gotten their new request forms yet, so they're not included. But he did want to take away their individual card. So I reversed those out.
Okay.
So by approving these, we approve an additional $3,000 limit. That'll leave $9,250 left in the total county credit limit.
Finally. Okay, anybody have any questions on those?
Trying to get my brain turned back.
Sorry, we got a lot.
Yeah.
A lot.
Well, I'll,
Got the credit cards, didn't we?
I'll move.
We got
to
them.
approve.
I've gotten the,
Yeah.
I'm fresh still. I haven't.
Oh, sorry.
That's right.
Call you back in.
That's okay. I move to approve the amending of and authorization of the credit cards per department as requested.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
yes, and the program now is up and running to where we can apply for these cards. The ones that you have approved previously, we did request those. The cards have been done, processed. We should have them in hand probably this week or maybe next week. So after each approval, and I do the application process, it usually takes about 5 days probably to get the cards.
And so like I have a interbank card. So when I get my new card, I'll just turn my old card into you.
Yes.
Okay. Here, if you all sign that. Okay, item 9. We vote on that? Yes. Okay. Item 9 is to consider and or approve Indigent Defense Improvement Grant Program Rural Public Defender Resolution. So this is a resolution to join into a feasibility study for expansion of the currently operating Potter Armstrong County Public Defender Office. This does not in any way obligate us to that. It just says that we would like to join into the feasibility study of expanding that rural public defender program. It's currently operating in Armstrong and Potter. And they're wanting to push out to all these rural communities.
What is Judge Mosley?
So we've had a discussion where we don't mind doing this to see what they propose for us. That doesn't necessarily mean that we're 100% that we want to move in that direction. But this is not a binding that says we have to join the public defender's office if we do a resolution to join into the feasibility study.
Just to do a study.
It's basically what can they offer us? Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I'll make a motion that we accept the study.
Second.
motion and second, any further discussion? All in favor? Okay, item 10 is a presentation by Sheriff Kemp of a life-saving award to Deputy Justin Tolley. Deputy Tolley, you want to come up too?
Move this way, so everybody. So on March 11th, 2023, at approximately 8:16 in the evening, Deputy Justin Tolley responded to the address of 109 Poplar in reference to a medical emergency. For those that don't know, it's in print. Which area? Deputy Tolley was advised while he was en route to the residence that the person having the medical emergency was unconscious and unresponsive. For those that don't know, basically they're not responding to anybody or anything like that. When Deputy Tolley arrived, he found a male identified as Jacob Watson and was unable to get a pulse from him. Deputy Tolley used his training and experience to provide Jacob CPR for minutes until first firing EMS arrived on scene and took over.
Deputy Tully was able to get a pulse from Jacob after providing CPR and life-saving measures. And due to Deputy Tully's quick action, and life-saving procedures performed to Mr. Watson, he saved his life and he later made a full recovery. So I'm very proud of the work that Justin did. Sometimes in this job, we have to make quick decisions and we don't have the time to sit back and Monday morning quarterback things and try to make decisions. We just have to act. And based on his training experience, he did what he was trained to do. I'm very proud of him. And so I want to give him this life-saving award. That's what we're going to do.
Good job.
It's on you.
Oh, yeah, we're going to get a picture. Thanks, Sheriff. Deputy, thank you. We appreciate that. Good job. I know y'all's job is hard every single day. We appreciate y'all, everything you do.
Close. I know.
It's a great design until we all need to get out.
I know.
Okay, item 11 is to consider and or approve Constable Roman Alejandro's request to move his cell phone allowance, which is in his salary line item, to his equipment line item. Constable, you want to speak to that?
So basically, I'm being paid an additional, I think it's $50 or $55 in my salary.
It's 50.
It's a 50, okay, to go towards my personal cell phone bill. After some consideration, I don't, and I know some of the officers here can attest to this too. We don't like using our personal phones for business related things. In the event of a subpoena, you're now without a phone. So I have a business phone. Basically, we're just gonna take the funds that you'd be paying me for that, transfer it back to them. In fact, I think it's actually gonna save a little bit of money because I think it's only an additional like $30 a month on the bill that we already have through AT&T. So basically just taking it, you're still paying my phone, just not paying my personal phone.
So it's not actually added onto your monthly check. It's just going to come out of a line item for equipment.
Yes.
Okay.
It's the same thing. So
Mhm.
if you go and take your $50 and you pay it, you're still paying your bill with it. It doesn't mean you have to use your personal phone because you have your other phone that you're using. You can still use that. There's really no need to have a whole new separate line item.
Well, the deal is because he added a phone onto the same bill that his tablet is already on, which is a county account. He didn't go open his own a cell phone in his own name that he's just using for business purposes.
Right.
What we're doing,
Yeah.
instead of paying that $50 to his salary to go pay his cell phone,
Personal cell
whether it's
phone.
a personal phone or a business phone, we're transferring that to the equipment line item to pay the additional cost of the AT&T
So he
bill.
has a tablet, so he took his tablet, okay, and
So
added.
he's got a tablet, and he added a cell phone onto that tablet account as
So
well.
we'll take away the $50 from his salary.
Just put it back into the equipment line item. That way, whenever I pay it every month, it just comes out of that. So again, essentially, we're still paying it, but it's not, excuse me, it's not my personal phone.
It's not going to him personally, it's staying in the county, the county.
It'll stay in his budget line item.
AT&T.
Right.
Okay.
Let's talk it.
And if approved, I've got a budget amendment just for this to sign so that we can follow with the budget.
So it wouldn't be a $50, it'd be whatever the bill is.
Right.
So that's perfect.
Right.
Yeah, like I
So
said, the last time I checked,
I think it was
I think it's an additional $30 or
$30
$40.
maybe.
So save me some money in the end.
Yes, so it's moving April, so it will stop in April, we won't get the $50 cycle allowance starting from April until the end of the year. So that $300 for the remaining of the year will move to the equipment line item.
So it's
But our budget amendment
Be-
policies state
You're
that
asking the same
anytime from a salary line item, we have to go.
That's ask the same question. Why, if it's only 30 or 40 bucks, why are we moving 50 instead of the exact amount that he needs to?
That's a good question.
It's usually when they. So
We don't have to.
Well, I mean, we don't have to.
it just stays there in this general fund.
Right, it just, yeah, it just was up, that's additional. We're putting in, we could use that extra $10 towards. True.
Justification.
Do you have the exact amount?
Maybe $30. Maybe 6 months, the year is
That amount.
There's not gonna be a flat fee, there's not gonna be any. I know back in the old days, you had minutes.
First of all, I got.
Hold off on the budget amendment until we get back. So, yeah. He's gotta come up with how to pay for it.
We make the decision. So. Yes.
Yes, I mean,
I need to go ahead and stop his. On his salary, just that, it's okay, that $50 on his paycheck. We need to go ahead and stop that.
We can just put that extra, you have enough in the equipment now to pay for 1 month, right? Yeah, then we can retroactively add that. If you're, is that? Yeah. I second it.
okay, so we have a motion and a second to table this item until we get some hard numbers. Of which you can have that to us by the next meeting, right?
Yeah, I can ask
Okay.
you by today, yeah.
Okay, so, all in favor? Okay, great. I'm gonna give that back to you, so I don't hold on to that and think I need to sign it. Thanks, Roman.
Okay, item 12 is discussion on our JAG grant, Captain Hajar. This is for the criminal investigator,
Yes.
correct?
Yes, ma'am. So last commissioner's report, for that, you'd asked about the JAG grant.
Yes.
So I did some research after that. Unfortunately, the time frame to apply for it this year had expired. I didn't know that it expired sometime in February. Okay.
February 9th.
Okay, so February 9th. Basically, what that means is for next year's budget, it's not going to be budgeted in there. The grants are gonna be applicable. Problem is, there was email sent out that didn't make the right to me. So I didn't apply for the grant. So that was the answer to the question you asked the other day.
So I know you and I had had a discussion that you were making some contacts and going down the chain to see if there was any way we could go ahead and fill out that application.
So I did, I called PRPC first.
Right.
Number one, to find out exactly what was going on with the grant. And then I called the governor's office, I sent an email, I talked to a couple different people there. It sort of got kicked back and forth. I was hoping there would be some ground gained on it, but there was nothing. Ultimately, they said they could not grant some sort of extension to apply for it. So it was stopped at the governor's office is where I was told, and since they're the ones that actually are the ones that fund the position, that's not something that I'd be able to, hard to pass that point.
Right.
So.
Okay.
So can I, just to get clarification, we were awarded a grant last year for the JAG for our detective.
Yes.
And then that was contingent that we apply each year.
Yes.
And we missed the next year to apply as window, correct?
Yes.
And so now we have an employee that the county will either have to pay for or, and that wasn't it like 50, 80, 85,000?
Somewhere right in that area.
So
Yes.
are we obligated as a county? What's y'all's plan as the sheriff's department?
So it was the most opportune time that it could actually occur. We had one of our deputies leave. So we have an open position technically at this moment that we are leaving open. I'm sorry. Until we got an answer. Right now, I was bringing it in front of the court to get everybody's speed on everything. And then I planned on bringing it back with exact amounts. And I was going to propose possibly that we funded the position next year. So when I talked to PRPC last and the governor's office also, just to verify that it wouldn't disqualify us from the next year or from continuing it to the 5-year extent. They said no, that it would not. It actually happens quite often because a lot of the people that apply for it don't realize they're applying for a 5-year repetitive application. So they said the following year, which I'm assuming is going to be in February. I don't know the exact date. I'll have to apply for it again. And it would resume at the second year. So
There's just a gap. Year 1 funded, year 2 not, year 3 possibly.
Fortunately, yes.
So my only concern is since I've been commissioner, I keep hearing about shortage at the sheriff's department. We had an opportunity and
sure, yeah.
And now we missed it.
Yeah,
And
definitely. That's
so it makes it even harder to, if the sheriff's department comes and says, we need more staff, I'll be like, you had it. And you missed it.
So, yeah, I get definitely the problem that it created. Trust me, I'm the one that is responsible for the grant. So I missed that opportunity. I take responsibility for that. Unfortunately, it was just the way that everything had unfolded. I never received an email for it. So we had Josh check emails too to try to confirm whether or not emails that came through. He wasn't able to find any. There's certain emails that it sent to, and I know he checked one of them, and for sure the email didn't get there. So
I do want to interject on that about PRPC. I mean, throwing them under the bus to not get an email, I don't like, because it's bigger than the county. Like PRPC helps a lot of the departments. There's a lot of programs. So if we burn that bridge, I don't want Hutchinson County application to come across and they don't have to help us next year.
Sure.
I mean, so I did reach out when I asked you that. I reached out to PRPC as well, and they sent me the documentation that the emails did go out. And they have one email in there that's been there for several years. So if we need to add another one, we definitely need to. But
so I'd asked them about that, and they said that I couldn't put mine on there.
You can't change the one?
They said that I could not put mine on there. I don't know necessarily whether or not it can be changed.
Okay.
But it just, at the time that I talked to them, they said I could not put mine on there.
Okay.
So.
But the grant, we were talking about like every 3 to 4 weeks, we have updates on the e-grant thing. that's where we submit the updates and that stuff to the governor's office, and the calendar is on there. So I mean, kind of backing up what Dwight said, if we're getting an $85,000 grant, we knew it was contingent on 5 years. I'm setting like 3 reminders in my phone, alarms. I mean, checking the e-grant schedule to make sure this didn't happen, because now it's going to come to us on, do we have to tell you, well, you're going to operate without that investigator for 1 year? Because I mean, it was a 5-year kind of a, stair step into gaining 1 extra position.
Definitely.
And so we just need, when it's priorities, we just need to get our priorities straight. Like when there are priorities like that, it's not PRPC, not sending an email. I mean, there were a lot of chances that on e-grants that we could see when it was due. I mean, we knew, and every year, so every year it was due the first year in February. And then the next year, all you have to do is log in, it pulls all the stuff over. And she said it takes like 10 minutes. You just change the numbers. And so the second year is just super easy. And so, I mean, we've got to make it, I mean, we've got to set it in January to start looking, if you don't mind. I mean, for next year.
Oh, yeah.
Start making the reminders now.
Trust me, I set reminders for, I have to fill out quarterly reports on it. So I set reminders for that. And I'm a huge fan of Post-its.
Yeah.
So if you look at my office, I got Post-its everywhere, but I have Post-its telling me exactly when the quarterlies are due. So if I had made it seem like I was putting responsibility on PRPC, I don't mean to put it on them. Like I said, I'm responsible for the grant.
I just don't want to get black out because it's commissioners, judges. There's like 2 or 3 sheriffs on that board. I just don't want something to come across and they see it as Hutchinson County and say, oh, that's Hutchinson County. Like they threw us under the bus. Like the first year we didn't get any. I don't think we got an email the first year. We just knew that it was there. And when I looked on the governor's side, I mean, there's bulletproof vests, there's rifle resistant armor. I mean, there's all types of grants on there that we're not going to get emails for, just the dates there. So I just wanted to clarify that just in case it gets sent back to PRPC. We're not throwing them under the bus.
Or PRPC's watching.
Yes, it could be.
So it could be, I don't know. I'm worried attentive if she sort of pays attention to what's going on.
Yeah, we appreciate everything PRPC does.
Daphne does. I mean, I spoke with her and she outlined the process of, I mean, she's willing to even, I mean, which we shouldn't, but she's willing to hold our hands through it. And she said, I mean, they were even like a week before, if it was last minute, they said, well, they would do makeup work.
Oh, yeah, PRPC is super good about that.
I just want to clarify that to where they do see that, because they work their butt off on things they don't have to do for us. And so I wasn't saying that, I was just clarifying that in case they saw that comment.
No.
It is on us.
And like I said, I'm not trying to push it off on that. It was something that there's adjustments that need to be made to make it more optimal, I guess is where I'm leaning to in the future. But I plan to the same next year. I'll find out the day first, put a post-it up somewhere and just move forward. And the only thing I can do at this point is correct it. It's not something that can be changed at this point. I've done what I could to try to make corrective measures, but it's not something that can be changed at this time. So,
well, I appreciate you answering Commissioner Prock's question about the JAG grant. So thank you for coming up here. And even thank you for taking ownership. That means a lot to me. So I appreciate it.
We're all right.
All right.
Let's make a comment too. We get about, I can't even tell you the number of emails we get about grants, and sometimes they do get,
Oh yeah, that's over.
because you get outside companies also that are trying to email you about grants that are not, they're just trying to run their grants through them. It's just overwhelming sometimes, the number of emails we get. And so to miss one.
And it happened. And that's why, and then just like, I mean, when people have to face the fire and come to us and say we screwed up, I embrace that. I like accountability. I mean, it's just like the Odyssey thing with Sheriff when he said that's on me, take it out of our budget. If we all make mistakes. I make mistakes, but when we get together and say we made a mistake, I had his back on that, and we didn't take it out of your budget because I didn't want to punish you guys. I mean, that's what we just need. We need to be able to come, and I do appreciate you, Stan. It's not easy to come up here and say I messed up. And I mean, but that's what it is. We all have to do that. We all have to say, that's what I think we all work together as a team. So I do appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
All right, you want to stay?
I was gonna say, I don't know.
Yeah, yeah, and the next one's yours too, is to consider and or approve the Pelagic contract.
I should have like cleared my bill before I come up here. So the logic is cop sync, probably what you guys recall it as. We don't have access to it currently. There's a lot of records that are in there that we need access to. Main concern right now is evidence. We are the owner of the data and they've actually given us the data, but it's not in a usable format at this moment. So we're trying to get it put in a usable format where it can get pushed over. For the time being, the easiest way to access it is if we get a contract, which is, I guess, I sent it to Judge Irwin.
Yes, I have it.
And the contract has been reviewed by Craig Jones, and he requested that some changes were made. You know, this everything went through and he's like, so I'm here to see if we can get it's a 3-year contract decided with the budget for access to.
Okay, so this is 1 year.
Oh, okay, so at the beginning, it was 3 years. I'm sorry. So there's
Right.
So,
Okay, so yeah, so it's, so 1 year cost and legal
Licensing.
yes, ma'am.
So is this known when we talked about that transition? Or is it, I don't remember. Was I thought it was police?
Was it gonna oversight? And to sort of hold it in the class and have it in right now. So, certain elements, it makes it really easy to find it on the system.
So they gave us the information, but it's not in a usable format.
Yes.
They've got a signature in that format. Do you guys have this in the budget to pay for this? Any other questions? Further discussion. Yeah. To consider grant projects is and the other one is
10,651. Oh, I got looking at the wrong thing. Sorry. 3,723.46. So one of them just needs a little additional.
They did a amp for.
Yeah,
But we
yeah,
had him,
the 316 needs a little bit more.
so we wanted him to get more bids because it exceeded the 10,000.
Right.
And so we just divided it up into 2 courts.
And I have had a conversation with Judge Mosley, and he said this Amarillo Media Systems is about the only one that they can find that's wanting, that can do what they need for them to do. So So there are two different, yes, we pretty much approved the one from the week before with or from the time before, with the condition that we get other quotes. He just had AMS come back with a singular quote for each.
I move. I don't like it, but I'll move to,
Do you want to discuss it?
I don't. I move to approve the ARP funds in the amount for 316, the amount of $6,928.14.
And the 84.
Oh, and I didn't scroll down. And also approve the ARP funds for the 84th Fort in the amount of $3,723.46.
Okay, we have a motion. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Okay, a motion and second. Any further discussion on this?
I do want to discuss it. So going forward, since we're breaking that into two departments on the same project, if we have to do like an AC project at the courthouse, is that how we're gonna do it going forward? Is just breaking into each
So,
department, or how? is
Kind
this-
of how
Say that again.
how I felt on it was this is basically computer equipment that they can decide they do want or don't want in their courtroom.
Okay.
There's two different people who approve those things. If it were the AC unit for the courthouse, that would be Ben. So you wouldn't say, Judge, you get an AC. I'm approving.
Everyone gets something different.
Right.
Yeah, no.
Because that would be a facility, Ben would be over that. Where these are specific to their courtroom. The judge, like if Judge Mosley wanted his to work and Brancho didn't, and he didn't want to, so.
I just want to.
That's where I came up with, if there's two different approval.
Okay, that's why I just
Person.
wanted to.
And so I also just want to be clear, I'm laughing for two reasons and kind of tongue in cheek on this thing is because we could have approved this 2 weeks ago. I mean, it's just bureaucracy.
Well-
It's crazy sometimes. I understand the reason why we didn't.
This is probably one of them things that
Yeah,
it becomes a single source.
yeah.
That's all you can get. You can't.
I just kind of laughed because we're like, let's table this till you get more bids. Okay, it didn't. We could approve this 2 weeks ago. It's funny to me.
I agree.
But
Okay, so we have a motion,
find out.
Yeah.
have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? All in favor? Okay.
Of course, I also know y'all are a lot tired, more tired than I am.
Heather.
I was drinking water out there,
Yeah, it
sleeping,
happened, wasn't it?
eating candy.
Okay, the next ARP project is from Commissioner Bentley. It's, we have 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 AEDs that are either not working or we cannot find batteries for. And so, Ben, do you want to explain your request?
So we started about a year ago looking for batteries for these for the courthouse and the jail and stuff, and we couldn't find the batteries.
Can't locate them.
And as time went on, I started talking to the other departments and they were looking for them and they couldn't find them. And then we'll come to find out they're totally not available. So we got a better price by just doing it countywide, which takes 15. And they give us a pretty good discount on these, better than just doing 3 or 4. So went ahead and got the price for all of them.
To replace every single AED we've got in the
That's
county.
every AED in the county except one at the jail we're keeping because it's newer and the battery don't run it on it till I think it's 25. Okay. So we'll just keep it. But the rest of them either expired or getting close to expired. And I did check on prices and I forgot when I give this to the judge that we got 3 bids, but I forgot to include the bid on the last 2, but the prices were really close per unit. American AED was the cheapest at $17.95 per unit. We're getting 15 units, which comes to $26,925 to replace them all.
And they're currently available. Or as of when you got the bid?
So they were last Wednesday and they didn't have that many of them, so. There's a chance they may have sold them.
And what is and you may not know this, what is the lifespan of this? I'm just curious.
Of the
I
age?
don't know what the total battery life was.
Like
I
they'll-
don't remember.
Who may have to go down this road again in 5 years.
Well, hopefully the batteries are available. This is some stuff
Oh.
that got discontinued during COVID, you know, we
Oh,
can't
yeah.
get any more from suppliers.
Well, I appreciate it. I think it's cool.
Tech comes up and checks them.
Okay.
And they're just gonna,
We're looking for one for the airport and juvenile.
for what?
For, they can't get batteries.
He's,
Are they included on?
You know what?
It did include the airport.
I did.
All that.
Yeah, airport and juvenile, things included.
Yeah,
I think we
Yeah.
included
should be.
everybody.
Yeah. I'm just saying they needed them.
We're going to, if we approve this, we'll just have them delivered to the annex and Laura's going to record them and record serial numbers and sign them out to every department. And Eddie will go around and change them out. She'll keep the records on.
Okay,
She volunteered, so I said, you.
Isn't there, aren't you gonna get something for trading them in too?
Yeah, I didn't say that. On the trade-in, since they give us, we'll have to send them back, which is probably about $250 per unit. We should get 100 to 250 back per unit. And most likely 250. That is not included in this 26, so we will get that back.
that's awesome.
The 26,925 is outright purchase, but we should
Right.
get a credit.
But then we'll get it.
These will all have to be boxed up and sent back. And then they do have a list, how much per brand, but we gotta get all the brands and we'll find out exactly what that figure is gonna be.
Well, thank you and Laura for looking into that.
All right, with y'all, I'll make a motion to approve the 26,925 for the AEDs.
That's
A second.
Okay, we have a motion and second. Any further discussion?
I would just like to ask, on our ARP plan, which line item we would like to pay that out of. We still do have LATCF funds that would cover that, so I think that would be a great place.
Remind me what that LET.
That's the,
That's the.
the additional 50,000 we got.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And it can be used towards anything,
Anything.
just like lost revenue.
What do you recommend?
I recommend the LATCF.
I think that's a great idea.
All right.
Yeah.
Sounds good. I agree with.
Perfect. Okay. We have a motion and second. Any further? Did we have a second? Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
Carrie.
Motion and second. Any further discussion? All in favor? Okay. I get lost sometimes. All right, and then we have a request from Commissioner Prock for flooring at the museum, correct?
You remember the flooding that we had last year? We got the outside waterproofing project done and the stair, the fire escapes done. And so now wanted to wait until we got that completed before we did the tile, just to make sure we didn't get any other incident inside. So we still, oh, I'm on the wrong one. Hold on just a second. I was on the AED still. So we've got a little over 12,000 still in insurance proceeds that you'll see on that other. So there's 3 bids there. The very first one, the lowest bid, was very minimal and didn't break down the glue or the labor or anything like that. And it was just kind of, don't want to say the experience was negative, but it was just, there was a lot of questions still after their bid. So
A lot of questions I had.
yeah, then so and asking stuff, they just said that's the bid. Don't worry about it, kind of that. And I don't really like that. So then there's the larger one that you'll see that they had a lot of stuff. They added some waxing and stripping and floor leveling in there too, but even subtracting that, the stuff that was kind of optional that they added was still above the one from Witt and Amarillo that is broken down there that you'll see on the third attachment. That would be 22,546. And so taking if we took that bid and we took the insurance proceeds, it would just be a little over 10,000. We're at the top.
10,336.52.
52. Yes, ma'am.
That's what we do.
That's what we would take out of ARP. So we,
So-
so we got the insurance stuff and some of it went to water removal and a bit, pretty much just water removal, I think.
Basically,
And so there's 12,209.52 left. So it'd be 10,336.52 we would need from ARP. And I will say that bathroom, the baseboards and stuff and the sheetrock need to be replaced. So I will, after this is done, I want to make sure none of that damage is done on new stuff. I'm going to submit another application because we need to re-drywall those 2 bathrooms in the back. And so then we'll be done with the flooding issue, hopefully.
Okay.
Well, and I do want to say this too. I might have to come back on an amendment because as I mentioned on that back wall, some of that concrete has turned to sand because it just wasn't very good when they built the building. So I ripped up a tile or 2 and some of that, I don't know what we're going to be dealing with on the flooring when we get under there. Some of it's kind of sandy in spots. I don't think overall it's going to be terrible, but those buildings down there on Main Street back in the heyday, I mean, they were thrown up in 2 months. So I'm hoping this, as we found out with the fire escape, I mean, they fell when we thought we could leave them. I'm hoping I don't have to come back and amend it, but
Okay.
I just ask for grace on that because once all 3 of those guys said that until we get under there, we really don't know what it is. And so we're hoping that it's mostly concrete, but volunteers laid this tile in, I think 15, 14, I don't remember when they did it, but I don't know how much glue they used or what, for my time, so who knows what. Thoughts and prayers though, when they start tearing it up. So my recommendation is going with the middle bit, just, yeah.
Okay.
And I mean, I'm open to your thoughts on it.
Sounds good to me.
Should we approve it? Total 22,546.04 and getting 10,336.52 taken out of ARP funds.
Okay, we have a motion on the second. Any further discussion on this project? All in favor? Thanks, Chris.
I didn't need to ask you this year, but we have a line item to ask things.
Capital improvement.
That'll just come out of
Building.
facility.
Just wanted to confirm.
I don't have it on here.
I do what you want to do.
Anything else on the ARP?
Okay. Item 15, consider and or approve burn ban or rescind the burn ban. Scan. So that's. 16 consider and-
Has to be brown. That's it has to be brown. Okay. So it's the using it.
So I move to approve the requested disposal of the obsolete furniture presented to us with the county.
So second, any further discussion? 17, accept certificates of completion from elected or appointed officials.
I have one. Cindy Irwin, County Judge, submitted certificate for 4 hours of administrative training, county budgeting through VG Youth Institute or Young
VGM.
Institute. But for county government.
All right, item 18, consider and or approve request for use of the club rooms at the Borger Library or Fritz. Dwight, you have?
Oh, none, sorry.
None? Okay. Item 19, consider and or approve line item changes, transfers and or budget amendments.
I have two budget amendments. Last time you approved a budget amendment for the excess supplement that we received for the county judge. But then we got a letter saying they gave it to us in error, so now we have to reverse that and send that money back.
Oh,
That first amendment is to reverse what you approved last time. And then there's also an amendment for some insurance proceeds that we received for the sheriff's department, just putting that money into their repair and maintenance line item to cover the cost of repairing that vehicle. And the line item for the line item transfer for the ARP projects that were approved last time. And then again, approved today. That was just the one.
Make a motion, we approve all line item transfers, changes and budget amendments as presented.
That's,
Dwight, second.
I'm so slow.
okay, we have a motion and second. Any further discussion? All in favor? Okay. Item 20, consider and or approve advertising, opening, accepting or awarding bids.
I don't have any.
Okay, thank you. Item 21, consider and or approve donations to Hutchinson County. Item 22, accept reports from elected or appointed officials as required by statute.
March 2023 reports were submitted by Kelly Ratliff, County Clerk, Tammy McBrayer, District Clerk, Leslie Ford, Justice of the Peace, Precinct 1, Library, Hutchinson County Child Welfare Board, Jerry Langwell, Emergency Management Coordinator Monthly Report. Also, Amy Back, County Treasurer, submitted March 2023 financial report. Tax pool rate as of March 4th, 2023 was 4.79%. Dwayne Chisholm, Road Superintendent, submitted written report for dates March 27th, 2023 to April 5th, 2023. And that's all I have.
Thank you. Item 23, discussion of county judges and commissioners precinct daily operations. I'll start. We got our healthy county employee rewards in the amount of $3,150. Now, these are given to the county for future health and wellness initiatives, and we gained these from our participation in the Healthy County. So last year, we didn't get quite this amount. We did a little better this year, but it's based on participation, our county-specific incentive, which is our yearly physical that we require, or, you know, the $25 a month is taken out of employees' check if they don't get that physical. It's also based on us scheduling wellness training, which we did last year, and we've got one scheduled for this year. And then participation in all of those things, a percentage of participation. So that is why your health and wellness coordinator, which Vaughn and me as the assistant, continue to try to get everyone to participate, because the more participation we have, the more dollars we have. I think with the group size we have 100 to 199, we have the potential of getting back $7,000 worth of rewards. And this can go to any wellness. We could buy exercise equipment, we can do wellness training. There's a lot of stuff we could do with $7,000. But we gotta have participation.
Why do you keep looking at me and watch?
I know, I'm making it personal, guys.
Everybody,
I'm
I'm looking at everybody.
we could buy exercise.
Every county employee needs to participate.
A little self-conscious here.
Yeah. You just said treadmill, my legs went to sleep.
Savon and I will be out walking if we ever get through the insurance part. Anyone that would like to join us may do so at any time. Okay.
Now you have,
No, there's we don't go at any particular speed.
you have
Everyone's
on
welcome.
county insurance too.
Yeah, you do have to be on.
I can't, so.
Oh, I wasn't looking at you, Gary.
Okay.
Okay. All right, anyone else have anything on precinct daily operation?
Well, as everybody knows, Lee's house burned up. We're waiting on the insurance to see what happens there and they've got some funds out for them. I'd kind of like to see, I don't know, we'll have to make the decision about building a new house, which probably won't happen. But whether we need it or not, or whatever we need to do. Looking on.
Yeah, sad deal.
Yeah, it is. They just got everything moved in.
Okay, anything else? Okay, item 24, consider and or approve sale of struck off tax properties or tax deeds. Jerry, do you have that one? That Eddie sent us? It is
I might go look at it and Eddie sent you another one.
PC
I'll put yours up.
Yeah, that's all.
PCG, yeah, it's 1107 Valley Drive. That's your picture? That was a good one. That's
Ways to the life is good.
the,
Just an empty lot, so
Yeah.
it's TCG, so.
evidently it's already been torn down.
Yes.
Yeah. And they're offering 1,000? Is it? Oh. All right, let me look at this. Is that right? Yes, $300.
It's TCG, so make a motion, we approve that bid.
Second.
Okay, motion and second. Any further discussion? All in favor? Okay, and then the only other ones we had were counter offers that came back with the amount that we requested for the counter. So they were at 0 Walton Street in Fritch and 281 West Street in Fritch. We requested a counter of $250 and they came back with that offer.
I move to accept the counters.
Oh, second.
Okay, motion and second. Any further discussion? All in favor? Okay, and that is it.
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn then.
Second that.
Motion and second. Any further discussion? All in favor?